Does the computers automatically go on? Right. Would you like to start the recorder? Or?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's send it further ahead.
Okay.
We're ready to go.
Okay.
Gary.
It's 8 o'clock, so we're going to open up the meeting of the City of Green Bay Revolving Loan Committee meeting. Roll call. Gary Delbo here. Matt Schiller's excused. Mike Worley.
Here.
Mike Vogel's excused. Alderman Tom Duane.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Approval of minutes from the 5/24/16 meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from 5/24. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Review of outstanding loans. And I
Yeah,
warned.
I can give the update real quick on that.
Yeah, number 2, please.
Item number 2, all of the loans are current. Everyone's made their payments and are all up to date.
Oh, Hagemeister's.
Everything's caught up.
Oh, yeah, very good.
We've
Thank
received
you.
all 3 payments and are paid through until July.
Motion to place on
So moved.
file.
Second.
Motion.
Receive and place on file?
Yeah, motion to place on file. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Okay, we only have one item on the agenda, review and action involving loan fund loan application for Gather on Broadway LLC. Wendy, why don't you give us some background, and we'll open the meeting for a description.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, and thank you for all coming in today. This is an exciting project, and happy to bring this before you. But I'd like to introduce the Gather on Broadway team. They're here representing their organization. Gather on Broadway is an LLC, and they're requesting 2 loans. One for $117,000 for restaurant equipment, which will be at an interest rate of 4%, amortized over 10 years, and we'll be in second position with this for the SBA, and we're working with Nicolay as our lending partner. And a second loan for $132,000 to purchase and be part of the building purchase, which will be at an interest rate as well as 4%, amortized over 15 years, and we'll be in third position for the SBA and Nicolay. That's just how the formulary worked for this project. For the property located at 139 North Broadway in downtown Green Bay. So I wanted to give you a little background. The creative team of Gather on Broadway are looking to bring a unique urban event space to the Broadway Business District. It will embrace all of the charm of the historic downtown Green Bay with a modern flair, large event space that will host small and large venues in the downtown. The ownership team brings a professional chef with expertise in LA and Green Bay for catering, and a leadership team of elite tent rental for the event and wedding planning. Patrons will enjoy a 5-star dining service and experience that will offer prices that won't break the bank. The revolving loan funds are requested to help make up for the shortfalls in purchasing the building at 139 Broadway and the restaurant equipment for this project. Do you have some questions for me? This was a big packet. There's financials for all 6 partners. Each one of them are 16.66% partners. And so you have financials for all of the background checks.
Right.
And
I'm glad you emailed them. It would take them UPS to deliver.
it was like a small phone book when I dropped it off at Gary's house. Fortunately, Tom stopped in to pick it up.
First of all, my compliments to you for putting this package together, because it was a lot of work with a lot of moving parts, so good job.
Well, and on the application, I just want to verify the fact that the information, when the application was received, they were still working with several different lending partners and had not chosen their lending partner at that time. So they were getting the best quote and the best business financial picture and formula for them. So they were putting their capital stack together. And so on the sources and uses, there's a little bit of updating, just because now that we have everything back from SBA and Nicolay, those numbers are now hard numbers, and that's why I wanted to make sure in the request that you were aware that the 117 for restaurant equipment and 132 are the hard numbers. So they had originally started at 250,000. We're down to 249 just because of how all the formulary worked. It's very close, but I wanted to let you know that those are hard numbers. Know that they've confirmed those. We're working with Tim Henrik over at Nicolay, and they've been very thorough, along with the SBA. So there should be closing. All of the loans are interdependent on each other. So the SBA is interdependent on Nicolay, is interdependent on this one. So everything is contingent on each other.
Sure.
So without our finances, and that's how we want to participate, is that
Yep.
they need our funds to be able to get this over the finish line.
It's up to the committee. We can open the committee.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Okay, motion second to suspend the rules, open to the public. I will say this, the rest of the committee, we get into the financials, we're going to go into closed session though, but the first part of opening the meeting is just to hear from the applicants to tell us a little more about the project from their perspective. So please give us a little more input please.
So, we can do these eye charts just real quick. So,
Thanks.
a few of the slides you guys have.
What's okay?
Great first impression.
Yeah, that's okay.
Just make sure it's
No big deal.
Not the way to
They're
start. the
actually
day.
in the way, and that helps you with the names in case you're referring to each other. It's just. Yeah, that's good.
So there's three pieces in there I just wanted to reference from the presentation, and then there's the eye chart financials that are a little more updated than what you guys have. Matt, so this is Matt Sherman, brother-in-law and business partner from Elite Tent Rentals. We bought Elite Tent Rentals back in 2013 from a previous owner. Have grown the business from about $100,000 in the first year to about $450,000 this last year. We'll be growing again this year. And this is Jill Everman, our chef, and Tommy Everman, our operations director. So when Matt and I kind of set out exploring this project, we've been trying to figure out what we could do with our rental products in the winter, given that not a lot of people are putting up tents. So we looked at Christmas decorating, a lot of other things, and we're at a wedding in Minneapolis and went to an industrial venue, and it was absolutely a perfect experience. The bride could customize everything down to the very, very last detail. And as we came back to Green Bay, I think we both kind of filed it away under, that's definitely a great idea for the future. And then we came back, and as it seems to happen for us on Craigslist, we found a perfect building that we fell in love with over on Broadway. So it's right next to Gavarna Coffee, if you're not familiar. I think, Gary, were you the one who met Matt over?
Yeah, yes.
Got a little tour of
Mike
the
was
space.
there on Wednesday too.
Oh,
I was
okay.
spying.
Overly.
So it's a fantastic space, 7,200 square feet. We're building out the back area with a full commercial kitchen for Jill. So it's been Christmas morning for her for the past 4 months now as we plan for this project. The front area is not going to have much change. We want to allow brides to be able to basically choose your own adventure.
Sure.
So it has an urban feel, but it is really a blank palette for a bride or a corporate event. We'll also be doing cooking classes. Jill's been on Food Network Star on the Food Network. I was kidding. So she's a bit of a local celebrity, has come back, done cooking shows on Fox, goes to Chef's Corner. She'll be on the cover of You Magazine this coming 15th of June. So, and then Tommy has tons of great experience in opening restaurants. He has 5 years in Pasadena from opening restaurants. So we have a very good, well-rounded team.
Yeah.
And I know the biggest concern when you say you're opening a restaurant or a bar is that there's so many things that can go wrong, and they're one of the most, or one of the types of projects that fail most often. I feel like we've addressed all of these things. We have in the packet I gave you even a full sheet of all the things we think could go wrong and what we're planning to do to avoid those things. A few things that are unique about a venue versus a restaurant or a bar is that as brides, grooms, corporate partners are paying for the events, the cash flows are actually spread up quite nicely for us. They'll pay a deposit at time of booking. 6 months out, they'll pay 50% down, and then they'll pay the rest at time of event. And then on the cost side, conversely, we'll have terms with all our vendors. We can order exactly what we need, 150 steaks for this event, so there's not a lot of cost lost there.
Right.
And so the second piece of paper I gave you guys was just a graph. as I was thinking about it from your guys' perspective, being in the third position on one of the loans, that means you're the last in line, and I want you to be sure that we're being very serious about all of our financials. We have, the bottom line is, if we were just to take as the events occur and the cash flow and margins come in, what our kind of cash flow in picture would look like. And then the top line is actually when we accrue the revenues. And so you can see there's 2016 may be a modest year for us, but going into 2017, we would see some good growth in our events, and all those events would be paying 50% of their deposits in advance. And weddings are the ones that typically book 12, 15 months in advance. And so there's a nice pull forward on that front, allowing us to make sure that we're well overcapitalized, in addition to Nicolay Banks requiring us to put about $60,000 into a line of credit for ourselves, an operating line of credit. So we'll have that as a backup as well.
Can I ask?
Yes, please.
How large weddings are you looking at? I'm
Uh,
thinking about the area, I've lived here all my life, parking,
Yep.
such, and such like that.
Yep, 300, so 350 is about the max seated. We can get up to right around 400 if we did a cocktails or standing room only type events. The parking that we have a ghost lease with BMO Bank, which is just directly across the street.
Right.
They have 150 spots, and their hours and our hours are basically
Right.
opposite of each other. It's
So
perfect.
you already have an
We have a
agreement
lease for the parking over there.
Gotcha.
And then behind us, there's,
Yeah.
behind Old Fort Howard Square, there are all the metered spots, and there's like 200, 250 of those.
Yeah.
So that was the very first question everyone asks. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah, you don't see this parking spots coming along the building.
Good.
There is that many behind that, that's right.
I went
When-
through all the material. I think most of my questions have been answered. Wendy helped with several of my questions. Would the group like to go into closed session as far as asking other financial questions, or?
I don't have any questions that I went through it with Wendy already, and I did get all their information that we read.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but Mike would like to, I'm more than happy.
I'm good, I do have, I'm assuming that, we're a third position on, and we all know where that is, but everybody's signing a personal guarantee.
Right, okay.
That would be part of our,
Standard.
it would be
Good.
put in our recommendation at the end, but yes, that's would be the standard,
Now,
that we would have all the business, all of the required forms signed, including personal guarantee, so.
given the fact that you guys are like halfway into this build, have you closed on that property already?
Next week,
You do?
yes.
You got some, well, I've done that, so I can't say anything.
We
Did a
had,
build and didn't own the property? It's like, okay.
so in January is when we kind of launched the idea. That's when we got Jill and Tommy on board. Wedding season was coming up, and we knew that
Yeah.
if we waited much longer, we'd lose out on pretty much all the revenue for 2016. The nice thing about this venue is we could basically do one wedding every other weekend and be able to pay all of our bills easily. So we booked back in January. We've been working with the landlord. We had a lease put in place back in April that was an agreement to purchase.
Sure, okay.
All right, so you did have that.
So we had the agreement to purchase. We've been on that lease for 2 months, and we had to get that to be able to put everything into the building.
Yeah, because right now, you're in the, you got about 75% in that building already. All right, parking. And as Wendy has stated, I mean, the issue with the restaurant business, and I don't need to tell you guys, is that it's probably the worst to be into. But having said that, everything that you're doing, your costs are controlled. I mean, you're gonna know exactly, like you stated before, how much food you're gonna have, what your staffing needs to be. You're fixed, I mean, you really don't have food losses, you don't have shrinkage per se. I mean, so that's the big upside on the whole project.
We're just not going to allow Matt access to the cooler for food. Then no shrinkage
So-
for sure.
And given the fact that you guys are where you're at, everybody else is on board. The other issue that that came up a little bit was the historic district? I mean, is that posing any issues or any issues with SBA?
Luckily, the people who own the building right now, when they bought it, they gutted it and they redid the front. I think that was actually a year or two ago, but they've done all of the facade work in front. So in the back, we will be actually taking a old rusty garage door, which is probably a hazard to begin with, and shrinking it down to just an overhead door to be able to get stuff in and out. And then the windows that are there in the back right now are just a piece of plastic. So we'll be replacing with nice pane windows. And that's pretty much the only exterior changes that we can make.
It has gone through SHPO.
Yeah.
And has got the approval. That was why we had to postpone, because we were waiting for a SHPO officer to weigh in on the historic
Okay.
district, and that's all been taken care of, and we have that information back.
In your permitting process, your liquor license, all of that's,
Applied for in the works.
you're in the work.
I'll be going before the HPC on Monday to explain what they're doing to the back of the building. I don't foresee that being an issue. And then they'll be going through they're finishing up the permitting process on their liquor license. They've got all their paperwork, and are working with Anita down there. They'll be going before the council, going to committee, and then the council next month. So they're
Right.
in the process.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Do you want to read the actual terms?
Recommendation?
Yeah, we can read it.
Well, I have the old.
Yeah, let's,
You want to read the
On
terms?
the,
Somebody
I
should
don't
read.
have my glasses on.
All right.
Let me see if
read it.
I can read it.
if you want.
Yeah, we
The
just-
staff recommends granting the request for the Cd-Rlf funds for $249,000 for the purchase of 139 North Broadway and funding the restaurant bar equipment needed to start this business.
That's the motion?
yep.
And a second?
I second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the loan as stated. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you.
I do have
Congratulations.
some
Yes.
advice to offer. Now, you're working with Anita, make sure you get to the police department, it's necessary. You gotta have a business plan, have you started that process
They've already
yet?
done all that.
Yep.
Because you need that, because you're gonna have a million questions on there, because you got guys in line.